Determine today that you will overcome yourself of the day before. Tomorrow you will win over those of lesser skill, and later you will win over those of greater skill. My friends, all it takes is practice. And also, as Miyamoto Musashi says, you need to realize that when you begin anything, it's going to be hard. You just have to stick with it. Let's jump into these charts. Stocks are up for the day. Bonds, gold, Bitcoin down. And we also have a play that was triggered in gold. We'll talk about that in just a moment. We see a big push up in the S&P 500. You can see some indecision in the morning, but jamming up in the afternoon, hitting right there on the 200 EMA on the half-day chart. It's green. How did the up movement today affect the two-day chart? We can see that it has been green back on the third candle ago now. We see how things are moving up quite strongly. And of course, we look at the weekly. Where are we there? We have bounced off. It's taking a minute to pull up. Come on, you can do it. Don't know why we're jammed up here. There we go. But you can see where we bounced off the 200 EMA, and then this was a big up week in the end. Now, is the market going to continue to go up? You know that it goes up and it goes down. Now, there are, of course, trends, but during those trends, you have fluctuations. And of course, on this half-day chart, we can take advantage of those. So we will be watching, waiting and seeing if things over the course of this next week bounces off the 200 EMA and pulls back, giving us the ability to jump into a down trade as we did last time. Initiated the last one on the 7th of October, finished it in the morning on the 13th. So again, we'll wait, watch, and see. If we do push above the 200 EMA this next week, we'll be looking to go long. So that's where we are. What do we see with the Qs? The Qs is up 3.06%. Now, when we look at the Qs, we can see we're still much further below the 200 EMA. Got a lot more to catch up with. We had 2 days of down movement. Warned you off trying to jump in. If you had tried to jump in there, particularly with what happened yesterday, you would have been totally screwed today. Our STC saves us again. So we are waiting for a potential pullback or a crossover going up. That is pushing through the 200 EMA. We look at the two-day chart. It's green on the STC. We can see a slowdown in the up movement on this latest two-day candle. We look at where we are on the weekly. It is still negative, but look at this. We had passed down and through the 200 EMA. Now we're pushing back up through it. So keep that in mind as we jump into this next week and see what trades might be initiated. The only ones we're looking for, because we're below the 200 EMA on both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, are down trades. Okay, that's how we wrapped up this week. What we're looking for next week on stocks, let's look at bonds. Bonds are well below the 200 EMA on all three of our time frames, half-day, two-day, and weekly. So a lot of weakness in bonds over the last few days. We've seen it gear up and then start to slow down. We see it particularly slowing down today. First red candle in 1, 2, 3 days. Well, this is the fourth day. Still green on the STC, waiting for that to rotate over. Oops. Let's look at where we are on the two-day chart. It is still negative, although we have a green spinning top followed by a green up candle with a wick on top. So that shows us some strong movement on the two-day, but still red on the STC. And what about the weekly? Well, we can see that the weekly, of course, is still trending down, reaching a lower low this week. So what are we looking for as we get into the next week? Well, we're looking for a rotation over going down like we had this last time, initiating that down trade on October the 7th in the morning, finishing it on October the 13th in the morning with a 2.83% gain. Remember, what do? We either go short with puts, or if you're just practice trading, of course, and you want to practice trade not options, you don't know options very well, although if you're a Patreon member, we got great options training for you. It comes for free at any of the levels. But I would encourage you to look at TBF, Tango Bravo Foxtrot. That is the inverse fund for 20-year bonds. We also have an inverse fund that you can practice trade with on the S&P 500 and another one on the Nasdaq 100. Take our training. I'll put it at the end of today's video It's about inverse funds, how to make money when markets crash. You'll see it at the end of today's video. I'll put it up on the screen for you. So that is where we are on bonds. We will see if they do rotate over for us as we jump into the new week. Now, I told you we initiated a trade. Now, we'll talk about the pluses and the minuses of this. We initiated one back on the 10th of October. It ran through the 19th, and of course, 2.32%. There's not a good inverse fund for gold. There is an inverse fund, but it's way too illiquid. So we do practice puts when we jump into down moves on gold. Gold did go from green to red. I would like to see it really dropping, not sliding sideways as much as it is, and didn't go lower in the afternoon. But nonetheless, we went ahead and charted this. Now, we look at where we are on the 2-day. When we look at the 2-day on gold, it is in the green. Again, a warning sign about, how much are you going to play this? How long are you going to stay in it when you've got a green up on the 2-day? Still up there high. Now, lots of indecision on this latest candle. And of course, if we look at where we are on the weekly is still red on the STC. And we have a red spinning top, not reaching a lower low. In fact, the low most recently in gold came all the way back on the week beginning the 26th of September. So again, some reasons to be very, very cautious in this gold trade. We'll see if it'll keep going where we are. One thing going forward, of course, is we are well below the 200 EMA even on the weekly chart. So we did initiate that practice down trade, hoping to get what out of it? 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. That is, we're going to risk 0.88% to make 1.75%, a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. If you look over on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see 134 is where we are when it comes to the average true range. In fact, there we go. And it's 134, well, yes, 134. And that is where we set our loss parameter. And of course, right here, and then we doubled it for our target profit. That's how you set that. If you don't know how to do that, you need to take those trainings on the wave method, the always winning method, and how to use the ATR in setting your profit and loss bands. Okay, that is where we are on gold. That is what we did today. We'll see how that goes for us. Take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin pulling back some after a day and a half, or really a day of lots of up movement. That was Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, and then things have been petering off again. What are we really looking for on gold? Well, we can see on the 2-day and on the weekly where we hope gold is setting up a base here. You can particularly see it on the weekly around the 1820 mark or so. Right around here, we want to see Bitcoin just sort of settle out and then start to really stroke it up, pushing through 200 EMAs, those types of things on multiple charts. Then we'll know that Bitcoin is recovering. Right now, lots and lots of caution and no trade. That is where we are, folks. Oh, and I am releasing for you this afternoon. You will be getting the Charting Crypto and Commodities for the week. That'll be released to the general public after being released earlier to the Patreon members. And Patreon members, don't forget, this next Wednesday, you got it, the live question answer call-in session. Go ahead and send us your questions. Stocks and ETFs you'd like to have us help you backtrack for future practice trading. We're here. Can't wait to have you with us on Wednesday. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.